What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge. I'm your host, Allan Bell. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you this Sunday. But before we get to that, as always, let's take a look at how we did on Saturday. And not bad. Look, Jamie coming through with Duke there. They've had a nice run winning the ACC. Propstarz coming through with DeAndre Ayton over 17.5 points. Well done on that one. We go 3-1 in the MLS. We go 3-1 in college baseball yesterday. Now, I'll tell you the funny thing real quick is that the site that I use for streaming and for also score checking had Auburn winning the entire day. I thought that Auburn had won. I didn't get the chance to watch that game, and then come to find out they actually lost. So I won't mention that site, but we were a little upset with that one, but we'll take that day 6-2 for sure. Now, the most important thing, today is Selection Sunday. Tonight, brackets are going to come out. Make sure, join the Early Edge official bracket challenge group. You can scan the QR code right there on the screen or join via link at cbssports.com/early edge. Compete for free against everyone on the show, everyone in the chat for prizes and so much more. We did it last year. It was a ton of fun, and it's going to be fun again this year. But enough of me yapping. Let's bring in the stars of the show. Get this thing fired up. Look at the guys here. Look at Sharp. Now, I do have to say, first off, Mike, I apologize for cutting your internet and everything else in the building. I apologize for that. So we're only going to have Avatar Mike, even though it's a sharp-looking Avatar. Mike, how we doing, bud?
Good morning, AB. Happy Sunday brunch. It is, it's an Avatar kind of day over here. No cameras working. I can't see anything because it's rainy and foggy outside. It's an interesting morning over here in Nashville, for sure.
It definitely is, for sure. Now, Sia Nejad, you're down in South Florida. Seems like it's always fantastic down there. How we doing?
It's always fantastic down here. It feels like Mike is, it's like we got Mike's alter ego today, and it's his projection model, and it's his optimizer and all the fancy stuff he uses. That's what's entering the show today. So we don't get Mike, but we get his alter ego. Kind of cool.
You know what? We'll take it. Any way that we could get Mike, we will accept it. And Propstarz, I have no idea where the hell parts unknown are, but it seems like it's tropical. Goose likes it. He's jumping down. How we doing?
Goose is pumped up. It's apparently no webcam Sundays on the Early Edge this morning. So shout out to Mikey. What's up, cousin Sia? AB, great to see you. We lost an hour of lab time last night, but we certainly will make up for it. I've got a prop that I love. Got another prop that I'm going to put out later today as well. And be ready to break it down.
I love it, man. I love it. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get into the storylines that affect the betting lines for today. And Sia, I'm going to come right back at you. PGA Tour, Scotty Scheffler, dude. Your boy's on fire. Can he finish the job?
Yeah, he probably can finish the job. I mean, he really is on fire. And this is sort of Scotty's season. For those of you that tracked golf last year, Scotty won the Masters and he was winning prior to the Masters. This is just the time of year where he really flashes. Now, he might flash for the entire year. I'm not really sure. And we might be calling him the number one golfer in the world in a matter of weeks. But it's going to be tough to catch Scotty Scheffler. I'll tell you, if you watch the early wedge, you already hit all your matchups or all my matchups that I put out there. But I did have Tommy Fleetwood as one of my 5 outrights. A couple of the other ones, by the way, were Colin Morikawa and Hovland, who had a shot as of yesterday and a couple days ago. But we got Tommy Fleetwood at 85-1. So we've already had a really good day from an early wedge standpoint. Hopefully you guys are all dialed into that. But if Tommy Fleetwood can somehow catch Scotty Scheffler, which I don't expect, by the way, we have cashed an 85-1 ticket.
All right, 5-1 would be nice. Now, Propstarz. Dude, is Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets? Like, is this for real about to go down? Is this really about to happen? Break it down. What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, they're certainly preparing for that possibility, AB, by creating a lot of salary cap space. The Jets have created $15.2 million in salary cap room by restructuring 3 veteran contracts. Laken Tomlinson, DJ Reed, Tyler Conklin all had their contracts restructured ahead of potentially adding Aaron Rodgers. The Jets can also save more than an additional $23 million because they were slightly over the $224 million cap. Teams must be compliant by Wednesday, which is the start of the new league year. Now they're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. He can either request a trade to the Jets, retire, or return to the Green Bay Packers. That seems like the most unlikely option of the 3. He spoke with Brandon Marshall, former wide receiver, at a charity flag football event just yesterday. He said it won't be long, quote unquote, before he makes a decision on his NFL future. So he realizes that it needs to happen quickly. Hopefully we have a resolution to this by the start of free agency. The legal tampering period begins on Monday. I would certainly love to see Aaron Rodgers continue playing on the Jets. I think that would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, him in the AFC East would be wild. Mikey, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I think it would be fascinating if he ended up there. I think it's probably where he ends up. I think that he makes any team better instantly. I think the reason why is he's going to come out. He's a guy that I don't want to get in the way of when he's incredibly motivated, and I don't think that he will ever be more motivated than he will right in this kind of a situation. So, yeah, I think that wherever he lands, I expect that team to immediately find at least some level of success.
See, Sia, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, and I'm not reporting this, but I have heard kind of secondhand from an insider that I think he's going to the Jets as well. But I have heard from an insider that perhaps it's not going to be the Jets and it's going to be the Raiders. And I only say that not to report it, but that there's definitely other teams that are potentially in the mix here.
See, that's fascinating to me because I was wondering, I was like, it can't just be the Jets. Like, it can't be the only team that's out there for him. So, yeah, I can't wait to see. But I think Mike makes the best point. Like, we haven't really seen motivated Aaron Rodgers in a little while, right? And I kind of want to see that again. I mean, I know that we're getting to the end of his career, but, yeah, I want to see that for sure. All right, let's get into our big marquee games for today. But before we do, let's take a quick break and hear from one of our partners.
March Madness is almost here. Who's in? Who's out? The answers are revealed on the March Madness Selection Show, March 12th on CBS.
Dude, tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern, CBS. We're going to be all over it CBS Sports HQ, everything. So, again, make sure, jump in that early edge bracket challenge. Get in there now. We want everybody, the entire crew, going against each other, and it's going to be fun. All right, let's jump into our marquee matchups for today. Now, fellas, first one we have SEC championship here. Texas A&M versus Alabama. Alabama's 4.5-point favorite. A total of 145 that tips off at 1 p.m. Eastern. Mikey, I throw it over to you first, man. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating game here. You have a nice situation where both teams are firmly in the NCAA tournament, so that's always, you're not going to risk injury. You're not going to do things like that to go out and win certain situations. But what's interesting here is we have contrasting styles of play. You're going to hear that a lot today, which is always fascinating the way it works out like that. You got a Bama team that wants to get out and run. They want to score in transition. They want to push the tempo. Texas A&M, they want to play a half-court offensive game. I think they're going to have success dictating their pace of play in this one. I think Bama wins a really tight game overall here. I have a slight lean to the under. It is also moving that way. This thing opened 147. It's down to 145. I make the number 144. Not really much room left to play with here. But I do think it's an interesting live betting candidate because these two teams can definitely play a matchup where it's low to mid 60s, or they could play in the 80s, just depending on who has more success dictating their tempo. And or if one team jumps out to that double-digit lead, early in this game, like we've seen at times, especially in this SEC tournament. So start on the under, and yeah, give me a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'm fascinated, and see, I'm going to jump to you. I want your thoughts as well. But teams like Alabama, and we're going to talk about Purdue as well here in just a second. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a ton to play for, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you want to play for your conference championship, all of that. I get it for sure, but yeah, man, like they're kind of solidified with where they're at. Sia, what are your thoughts here on A&M Alabama?
Yeah, I think once you get to the final game, though, I think you're maybe more properly motivated than you might be in the semis or the quarterfinals. That's just my thought there. Now they've gotten, what I'm saying is they've gotten this far, and they may as well be motivated enough to actually get that trophy, get that banner up in their arena. I think Mikey's right. I think this is going to be a close game, and if anything, I'm not really looking at totals in general, but if anything, I'm looking at Texas A&M plus 4.5. I'm actually really impressed with Texas A&M. And I think this, like Mikey said, I think this is a tight game. It's not a play I'm making official, but if I'm leaning anywhere, it's definitely Texas A&M getting the points.
Yeah, I mean, their style of offense, man, it's fascinating. Like to watch, they, it's a dribble drive to the rack, get fouls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get ball within the line. See if you can get 30 free throw attempts, man. Like they do it. And then that first half yesterday, Alabama and Missouri was atrocious. It was awful, man. Like neither team could shoot, could hit. It was gross. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out for today. Props, any thoughts that you have here?
Shout out Herb Jones, former Alabama alumni, one of my favorite NBA players.
There we go. All right, game number 2, Dayton VCU. VCU is a 2.5-point favorite, total of 124.5. Mikey, I throw it back to you again. Your thoughts here. We got a tip at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I hope you like poor offensive efficiency and low pace, because that's what you're going to see here in this one. You know, there are certain conferences in college basketball. We see different endings in the NBA All-Star game. I would love to see a division that was just first team to 60 wins. That's it. We're done playing the game at that point. That's what this basketball game is going to be, though. It's first team to 60 wins this one. Look, Dayton, one of the slowest teams in college basketball, rated 350 at the pace of play. VCU is going to play right there with them at a very, very similar tempo. As far as the game goes, though, like, they might get to the foul line. There's no real rebounding edges on either side. This matchup is about as close as it could possibly get. It comes down to which team, can find a little rhythm and score. But scoring is tough in this one. Like I said, first 1 to 60 kind of wins here. So I don't have a play on this game at all. I would lean to the under. It's a very low number. It's very live to go to overtime as well. So not a game that I'm going to be betting. Certainly one to watch, though, as it will be a little drama down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say this total is way below what most of the others. Generally today, across the board, it's average roughly around 135, somewhere around there. So, yeah, definitely. Sia, your thoughts here, man? Anything that you've noticed?
A couple things I noted. Looks like the Alabama line is up to -5. So just something to consider if you thought, 4.5 does sound like a good idea. Just probably look around. You're probably going to be able to get it at 5. Pretty big difference there, in my opinion. VCU is also -2 instead of 2.5. These are just moving, so these are fluid. But I do like VCU -2. I really like how VCU has played. I believe the last time – I should have looked at this. The last time they played Dayton – they might have lost that game, but again, I like how I like their trajectory right now. If anything, I'm not going to play this pre-flop, but if Dayton can grab a lead, even if it's a small lead early, I think this is a really good live bet opportunity candidate where you might get VCU money line instead of VCU -2. So I would probably wait for a live bet here.
All right, nice call. All right, third game here. This one's going to be fun. Memphis, Houston. All right, we've got Houston, a 6-point favorite, total of 135. Tips off at 3:15 p.m. Eastern. See, I'll throw it right back at you, man. Look, Memphis Tigers been playing great basketball lately. Houston, obviously, we've seen what they've done. They hammered on Cincinnati yesterday. Clearly one of the best teams in the country. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, my thoughts are this is too many points. Again, I'm happy to take the dog here plus 5.5. I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a good fight. Give me Memphis.
Yeah, and the fascinating part with this game is that Memphis is an older team, right? Like they're a more veteran team, obviously, pretty well coached there, but they don't really have a ton of size, right? And we saw last time that these two teams played, Memphis played almost a perfect game, and then Houston steals it at the end. And Houston with their size, they can be a mismatch for a lot of guys. Mikey, I throw it to you, man. What are your thoughts? What do you see? What do you like, dislike about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to talk about the most important thing here, and that's the status of Marcus Sasser for Houston. He went down with a growing injury, re-aggravated again yesterday, left that game, did not return. What do you do if you're Houston in this spot? You've already locked things up for the most part. You're going to be a 1 seed no matter what, I think. I'm pretty sure they're locked into a 1 seed. I don't think a win gives them the number 1 overall seed. I think that's definitely out of the question for them as well. So they're mostly locked into seeding. Is it worth risking any further injury on a growing, which we know can linger for a week or two, really? Is it worth risking anything on Marcus Sasser before the tournament? What's incredibly important for them and will be in this matchup, and it is for every team in March, you've got to have quality guard play. Not having Marcus Sasser out there definitely has an impact on the Houston side. I think the motivation is definitely higher on the Memphis side. I would lean towards them. The issue with that is if they're not playing incredibly well in terms of shooting percentage, things can snowball really quickly against this Houston team. This is another one. I say this phrase a lot because we get it so frequently in these big games. Massive contrast in styles, right? Houston wants to play incredibly slow. They want to play that physical half-court game. Memphis has got to run. They've got to score in transition. It's going to come down to who can dictate it, and it's a lot easier to dictate pace when you've got your guards on the floor. So without Sasser in the lineup potentially, I think that Memphis is definitely live here.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. Like Memphis is definitely going to be the motivated team, but if they can't dictate the pace and they can't dictate, how it's going in the paint, you can be as motivated as you want. Yeah, Mikey, I think you broke that one perfectly. All right, final marquee matchup here: Penn State, Purdue. All right, Big Ten championship here. Purdue a 7.5-point favorite, total of 135. We've got a tip at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Mikey, throw it back at you, man. What are your thoughts here?
Did you watch Purdue Ohio State yesterday? Because I think this is going to be an exact replay of the way that game went down. You've got a team in Penn State, just like Ohio State. Heck of a run here, right? They've largely overperformed to get to this point. They have been in a dogfight every single game, essentially. Looking back at their last 6 games, they haven't won a game by more than 4 points. The largest margin of victory was 4 points yesterday against Indiana. They've been in dogfights, winning all of these games incredibly close. They're outmatched when it comes to Purdue in this particular spot. It's a very comfortable matchup for Purdue. They're going to both play with a very similar slow pace of play here. Not going to touch the pregame number. I think it's going to be just like Ohio State. I think it's going to be super competitive early. You're going to grab that live number at 3.5 or better and move on.
See it?
Totally agree with that. I think I love what I saw from Penn State yesterday, but I think sort of the run is over here. And I think Purdue kind of knows what to expect. They've seen Penn State's best, and I don't think we're going to see Penn State's best regardless today. So I'm not super comfortable with the 7.5. I totally agree with Mike. Try to grab a live number. And listen, if the live number never happens, then it never happens. But you don't need to force a bad number pre-flop or what you might perceive as a bad number pre-flop just because you want to have a bet on the game. So I agree with Mikey. Wait for a live opportunity under the 7.5.
Props, you're a Philly guy. You going Penn State, you going Purdue here. What are your thoughts?
We are Penn State.
Very good. All right. Well said. All right. Let's get into our best bets, man. Let's talk some bets for today. All right. Before we do, let's take a quick break and hear from our wonderful partner.
Welcome to the UEFA Europa League on Paramount Plus.
What a night!
Your home for more ultra-competitive, world-class soccer. Where Europe's elite and soccer's Cinderellas pump out that one-of-a-kind white-knuckle excitement that grows with every cut, every cross, and each and every... The UEFA Europa League. Stream every match live exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Lovely. All right. Let's get into our best bets for today. Mikey, I'm coming right back at you. One play, NASCAR. Bring it, bro. What do you got?
Yeah, we're heading to NASCAR streets. This one's available over on DraftKings. I want to target Denny Hamlin here versus William Byron. Look, I think this is a great setup for Denny Hamlin. Looked pretty good in qualifying early. Great starting position here. But I expect the Toyotas overall to be very strong in this format here. Racing on intermediate tracks, that's where Denny Hamlin has excelled throughout his career. And really here at Phoenix, you look at some of the results here, you may not see a bunch of wins next to his name at this racetrack, but what we care about is how often he's been in a position to win. He's led a ton of laps at this racetrack, more than a lot of drivers in this field here. I think this is a fantastic spot to back him. You got Byron and all the Hendricks cars coming off a really strong performance last week here. I think their numbers are just a little bit inflated. Look for Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, some of the Toyotas to really have a ton of success today. I played Hamlin minus 115 over William Byron.
Nice. All right. And speaking of a one play shot at it and somebody balling out, props coming over to you, our man, Jokic. What do you got, dude?
Yeah, we're taking a shot here on Nikola Jokic. We're going Nikola Jokic to record a triple-double. This guy has been phenomenal this season, averaging a triple-double at center, which is just absolutely insane. Looking at his home versus road splits, at home where this game will be played in Denver, he's averaging 24.3 points, 12.9 rebounds, 11.1 assists compared to 24 points, 10.5 rebounds, 8.6 assists on the road. So certainly does not hurt having the local scorers table, who always have been a lot more generous when it comes to handing out assists and rebounds to the home team players. So I really like that aspect of this. Also, he's averaging a triple-double, 24 points, 12.5 rebounds, almost 11 assists in wins compared to his splits when the team loses. Denver are 9-point favorites in this game as well. He's eclipsed this total in 26 of 59 games this season, but he's eclipsed this in 19 of 35 home games. So the fact that Denver being heavily favored, it being in Denver, I think there's a pretty high probability that he gets a triple-double, and the fact that you can get this around plus 105 is some nice value here. So give me Jokic to record a triple-double today.
Your boy. Now, Sia, look, we spoke about it yesterday. We spoke the last 2 days. I'm a baseball dude, superstitious, all that stuff. You know what? Look, I'm gonna tell you this. You hit the picks. Look, I'm not even saying a word. Go ahead.
I love it. Yeah, so we are 11-0 on the week on the early edge specifically, and that's factoring in the matchups I put out on the early wedge, which were 3 tournament matchups, which cashed in 36 hours instead of the regular. What would that be? 72 hours. So we're running real good. I've got one pick in golf today. It starts in about 45 minutes. So we're trying to go 12-0 on the week. That's college basketball. That's golf combined. I'm worried here not because I don't like the pick, but because I really don't want to lose at the end of the week. So we are going to go with the guy that I've actually been on. 2 of these picks that I've had in this 11-0 run have related to Wyndham Clark. I had a round 1 matchup, which you all recall because it was on the early edge, Wyndham Clark over Thomas Dietrich. And then I mentioned when I gave that pick out that on the early wedge, I had a tournament matchup. The same exact matchup was offered for the entire tournament, the 72 holes. And that, of course, was Wyndham Clark over Thomas Dietrich. Well, both of those cashed. So I'm going back to Wyndham Clark again. This time, Dietrich's not in the tournament anymore. He missed the cut. So that's why we cashed that one so easily. It's against Brandon Wu, and Brandon Wu's a little sneaky. And he's been playing really well, frankly, over the last few weeks. And he's been playing pretty well in this tournament, and he has some upside, but I think he has some downside too. And I just really like Wyndham Clark's game right now. There have been times where Wyndham Clark's been a little erratic, particularly in round 2 where his approach game wasn't very good. But rounds 1, rounds 3, the ball striking was good. The short game was good. And I just think right now he's the better player. So I'm going to take Wyndham Clark minus 130 against Brandon Wu. You can get this pretty much anywhere because the matchups are kind of frozen in terms of we know who the matchups are across the books, whereas day 1 and day 2, sometimes the matchups are a little bit different. So you can get this at Caesars. You can get it at FanDuel, I believe. You can certainly get it at DraftKings. Give me Wyndham Clark minus 130 over Brandon Wu. Again, this starts in about 30 minutes. There was a chat question because normally I do have some XFL. And this is not an official play, but there was a chat question regarding the DC Defenders -6. They're at home. They're a really good home team. They get a really good home crowd, but I don't like them -6. In fact, I like the Vegas Vipers. I might put something out on Twitter if I want to make that an official play, but it's not an official play right now. But I really like how Brett Hundley is playing. I know you're going to scoff at the whole Brett Hundley notion, but believe me, he's got a ton of confidence, and he played really well in a close loss last week that they absolutely should have won. So I wouldn't take the Defenders here -6. If anything, I'm on the Vegas Vipers +6.
Nice. And I'll tell you what, Wyndham Clark, right? Yeah. He sounds like one of those mid-major hotels that you stay at like for a week for work, and you leave and you're like, this hotel's nicer than I thought it was. Like it was clean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Wyndham Clark.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. We are basing this pick off of nice mid-major hotels.
One of the best spas in the country, the Wyndham Clark.
Yeah. Look, Bucket says, look, he's in the chat. AB, give out a Turkish soccer pick. Look, we had some turkeys in the road this morning that I was behind. So me and Buckets were talking about that on Twitter. However, I can't read any of these Turkish teams. So we're not even going to try. However, Buckets, I tell you what, it's funny that you say that. Everybody grab your paper, grab your pencil. Take a look at the recap here. And Buckets, I'll start with me. All right. We're going LAFC, New England. Both teams to score, -135. MLS, the only one on tonight. These are 2 solid offensive teams. LAFC might be arguably the best team in the MLS. I don't know what Philadelphia is doing, but yeah, both teams to score. Buckets. It's me and you, man. We're riding that one. Mike McClure is on Denny Hamlin -115 versus William Byron. Sia is on Wyndham Clark the mid-major, minus 130 versus Brandon Wu. Wyndham's coming through for us today. And Propstarz is on Nikola Jokic triple-double at plus 105. Fellas, all right, Selection Sunday, okay? Everybody's going to get their brackets tonight. Again, everyone, make sure join the Early Edge bracket, cbssports.com/early edge. It's free. Play against all of us, and there will be prizes and so much more, and we'll be updating that throughout the entire tournament live on the show. Any final thoughts we have before the slate of games today, before Selection Sunday?
Well, I'm excited about Selection Sunday, and I'm excited about everybody in the chat losing to me. I'm giving you bulletin board material. So when it comes back on me in a week or two, you can be like, Sia's in 250th place and somebody in the chat's in second place. So get in there so we can talk some smack over the next few weeks.
I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be live normal time, Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. But until then, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.